Hello, welcome to POV. Now, today on this edition, the question we're asking is that has Pep Guardiola lost the dressing room? Do you think at this point Pep Guardiola just can't manage the Manchester City dressing room anymore? All right, so what happened in the UEFA Champions League when Manchester City traveled all the way to Turin to play against Juventus? So after 90 minutes, Manchester City failed to score a goal in that game. And they also failed, to even win the game. So it means that for the seventh time in the last 10 games, Manchester City have been defeated, which means that Pep Guardiola has also only won just one of his last 10 games in charge of Manchester City. So, quite a lot happened when they played in that UEFA Champions League game against Juventus. So they squandered chances, they didn't play so well. They missed a lot of chances, but it's still what it is for Manchester City because things do not seem to be going on well for them. So after the game, during one of the post-match interviews, Manchester City midfielder, that's Ilkay Gündoğan, was interviewed and he was asked what he thinks is wrong with the team. Now he said that he believes that the team is low in confidence. He feels that they try to overcomplicate things. They don't keep things so simple, whenever they are playing, and that's one of the reasons why he believes they lost to Juventus, because Juventus themselves weren't so, extraordinary on the day. So those were the words from Ilkay Gündoğan, about why City lost. Then Pep Guardiola also hits the conference room for his post-match, and he was also asked about the words that came from Ilkay Gündoğan that Manchester City are low in confidence currently, and they also try to overcomplicate things. And guess what Pep Guardiola had to say? He said no, he doesn't even agree with what Gündoğan said, but he thinks that yet confidence is not that low. It's not even a mental issue. He feels that psychologically the team is up there, but they are just losing games. He also doesn't understand why they're losing games. So this brings us back to our initial question. Do you think Pep Guardiola is losing the dressing room? Because after Manchester City loses a game, and one player is being asked what actually is wrong. There's a player who has been with City, for quite a long time. He's won a lot of laurels with Manchester City. He's won quite a lot with them until he moved to Barcelona for just a season and came back again. So he's seen it all. He's playing under Pep. He's been coached by Pep for a long time. Then he comes out to say that the team is low in confidence. He believes that mentally and psychologically the team is down, and they need to keep things simple if they really want to build their confidence back to where it used to be. Now the head coach also feels that whatever the player said, to some extent, is hogwash. It doesn't make any sense, and he just refutes what the player said, saying that he doesn't agree with Ilkay Gündoğan. And you talk about Ilkay Gündoğan, and he's one of the most respected players in the dressing room of Manchester City. He's one of the top figures they have in the dressing room, and it took a lot to bring him even back from Barcelona, back to Manchester City. It's the first time we've actually seen a Pep Guardiola player leave the team to another team and then, welcome back into the team again. It's unprecedented. We've never seen it again. But now the bone of contention has to do with what Gündoğan said and why Guardiola would say no, he doesn't agree with him. But do you think it's not a psychological issue? Do you think it has nothing to do with their confidence? Because Manchester City, for the first time under Guardiola, have only won 1 in 10 games. And it has never happened before under Pep Guardiola for Manchester City to play 10 games and win only 1. And guess what? Let me bust your bubble. Since the beginning of November, Manchester City, in just 9 games, have conceded 21 goals. And that's the most by any team in the European top 5 leagues. So that's even when you're including the teams that find themselves bottom of the top 5 leagues, including the likes of Southampton, the likes of Real Valladolid in Spain. It means that City have been the poorest team in the whole of Europe, or even the European top 5 leagues in the last, or since the start of November. So it tells you one thing, that the Manchester City that we know isn't the Manchester City we are seeing now. And it looks like their form hasn't only taken a nosedive, it's run into a ditch. They are just awful. And if you watch that game against Juventus, you would find out why they are so bad and why maybe Gündoğan thinks that there's a problem with their confidence and then also their psyche. Because Erling Haaland was played through one-on-one with the goalkeeper. He missed. And then later on, it was just, a simple error from the goalkeeper, that Ederson, to give Vlahovic that ball. So Vlahovic just scored, and it even took, a beep from the referee's watch to know that the ball had crossed the line. So Manchester City keep on making simple errors in the ball they are playing. Yes, we all know Manchester City. You ask yourself, will Pep Guardiola get his tactics wrong 9 times in the last 10 games? It doesn't really happen. So it means it has nothing to do with Pep Guardiola's tactics, but then it has something to do with their confidence and psyche, just like Gündoğan said. So I just don't know why Pep Guardiola will come out, and just refute what the player said, especially when you know that the player is one of the most, senior-most figures in the dressing room of Manchester City. So it's more of a problem for Pep Guardiola now. He feels that, yes, they are good, they are okay, there's nothing wrong with their confidence. They will bounce back shortly, after all the mess they find themselves. But Gündoğan doesn't think so. So that's what I'm asking. Do you think there's trouble, there's fire burning in the dressing room of Manchester City? Do you think there's something happening that at this point we are not privy to? Do you think there's a lot happening? There's a rift between the players, or some of these players and Pep Guardiola, especially, some of the senior players in the team? Not long ago, Ederson was benched in 2 games for Ortega, to man the post. He only came back in that game against Juventus. And then also, you could see the header from Vlahovic, which you would be thinking, he should have saved it. Do you think the players are trying to get Pep Guardiola sacked? You think the players are just doing something? They're just, conspiring against Pep Guardiola? I don't know, but you can also have your say. It's a POV. So you can also, just move to the comment section. Just have your say. Bye.